McDonald's is the world's largest fast food restaurant chain, and without the ambition of Ray Kroc, McDonald's wouldn't have reached where it is today. If you have watched the movie The Founder, then you already know that Ray Kroc is not the founder of McDonald's. Instead, he worked as a franchise agent, and later he bought out the McDonald's brothers and became the sole owner of the company. After that, he transformed McDonald's into a global fast food empire through his business acumen and expansion strategies. How exactly did Ray Kroc do this? And why, without Ray Kroc, McDonald's wouldn't have been such a big company? We will see the details in this video. Ray Kroc, a milkshake machine salesman, visits the McDonald's brothers' innovative and successful fast food restaurant in San Bernardino, California. Initially, he intended to sell more milkshake machines to them. When he visits the restaurant, he sees a huge crowd waiting to buy a 15-cent burger, a 20-cent shake, and 10-cent fries. Impressed by the way the store works and how it delivers the food in the shortest time possible, he gets interested in the functioning of the business. After understanding the workings of McDonald's, Kroc believed McDonald's could be expanded throughout the country, and he wanted to do it. Then he suggests that the brothers should franchise the restaurant.
Franchise. Beg pardon? Franchise. Franchise the damn thing. It's too damn good for just one location.
The McDonald's brothers already had franchised to a few people, but they were already frustrated with dealing with the franchisees. But impressed with Ray Kroc's enthusiasm and sales experience, the McDonald's brothers agree and negotiate a 10-year deal with Kroc. This deal gave Ray Kroc the right to open and franchise McDonald's restaurants throughout the US. As per the contract, Kroc would receive a $950 franchise fee and 1.9% of each restaurant's revenues, of which he would give 0.5% to the brothers. The contract also mentions that Kroc cannot make any changes to the McDonald's Speedy system. If any changes were to be made, he would need written permission from the brothers. The Speedy system was the heart of McDonald's faster and more efficient serving. Initially, Ray Kroc did not face any difficulties selling franchises to friends and relatives. He began selling the franchise to his golfing friends. However, he realizes the contract he made with the McDonald's brothers was more favorable to the brothers. But Ray was impressed with the McDonald's system, and he could see the potential of the company's growth. That's why he was very passionate about franchising and expanding McDonald's throughout the country. So, he bore all the costs of training and hiring field consultants to keep the franchisees in line and running. Because of this, Ray found it very difficult to make money with such a contract in place. Many times, Ray and his lawyers tried to negotiate the contract with the brothers, but the brothers did not agree. Ray changed many lawyers to renegotiate the contract, but he failed. At this point, Ray met Harry Sonneborn. Sonneborn comes up with a unique franchising model and explains it to Ray. In the movie, it is shown as that famous real estate strategy that says, "You're not in the burger business, you're in the real estate business."
You don't seem to realize what business you're in. You're not in the burger business, you're in the real estate business. You don't build an empire off a 1.4% cut of a 15-cent hamburger. You build it by owning the land upon which that burger is cooked.
Now, to implement the new strategy and handle the real estate side of the business, a new firm named Franchise Realty Corporation was established as a subsidiary. It played a huge role in the expansion of the franchise model. Here's how Franchise Realty Corporation worked and managed lease contracts for McDonald's. Ray Kroc and Harry Sonneborn wanted to help people to open McDonald's restaurants in different places. First, they would find a good location where the restaurant could be built. Then, they would buy the land by promising to pay for it over 10 years. They would also borrow money from a bank to build the restaurant. After the restaurant was built, they would lease it to the person at a 40% markup over the combined payments. If the restaurant made a lot of money, they would also get a small percentage of the sales as an extra payment. From this point on, Ray Kroc would focus on the workings of the restaurant, and Harry Sonneborn would focus on the financial aspects of the company. Their strategy worked well, as it made operating a McDonald's restaurant more valuable than just franchising the McDonald's name. With this strategy, Kroc opened more than 100 restaurants, and this system was attracting many new franchisee candidates. And by August 1960, Kroc had opened close to 200 restaurants. At one point, Ray Kroc needed $1.5 million in capital for expansion. Harry Sonneborn managed to obtain this $1.5 million from 3 different insurance companies, but instead, they had to give them 22% equity. Later, these companies sold their equities and made around $12 million. Today, the 22% equity of McDonald's amounts to around $45 billion. While Ray Kroc was working hard for the expansion of McDonald's, but as the number of stores increased, the relationship between Kroc and the McDonald brothers deteriorated. They had many conflicting points. The restaurants Ray Kroc franchised were strictly following the standard guidelines for maintaining quality and cleanliness and offering an overall customer experience. But Kroc felt the original McDonald's stores franchised by the brothers were poorly run and sold unapproved products such as pizza and burritos. On top of that, there were the contract terms, which forced Kroc to request any changes in the operations in writing. Any changes Kroc wanted to make were usually denied, which resulted in more disagreements among them. The brothers would always recognize the problems Ray was facing, and they would give him permission on the phone to make changes, but they would never give him anything in writing. For example, the McDonald's brothers wanted the same taste of McDonald's fries in all their restaurants. But their original restaurant was in San Bernardino, which was in a desert-type area where the temperature is usually higher. But if the same type of restaurant were to open in different locations, such as Illinois, the construction of the McDonald's store would need to be a little different with the included basement. Ray Kroc realized this when he first made the fries. He kept everything the same as the McDonald's brothers' recipes, but the fries he made didn't taste like the ones from San Bernardino, where the original McDonald's was. When he explained this problem to the brothers, even they couldn't figure out why this was happening. Then, Ray explained this to one of his potato suppliers. The supplier told him that because the temperature in San Bernardino is higher, the potatoes get dried easily. But to achieve the same result in Illinois, he needed a basement where the potatoes needed a slightly different treatment. The brothers were very difficult to deal with after knowing the changes were necessary. They would give him verbal permission on the phone, but when Ray would ask them for written permission, the brothers would say, "That's your problem." This made Ray think that both brothers were very stubborn. One of his lawyers told him that he was crazy to work with such people, and they cannot save him if the brothers decide to terminate his contract with them. To this, Ray replied, "Let them try." They were never helpful to Ray Kroc in the expansion process. They also hid some information from Ray. When Ray was opening a restaurant in one of the areas in Illinois, he found out that the brothers had already given a license to someone else for that area, and they didn't tell him about this. Ray Kroc was already struggling to make money and was in debt, but to make it work, Ray had to pay $25,000 to buy the license and start the restaurant in the area. Similarly, in Los Angeles, the brothers had sold the franchise before Ray Kroc made a contract with the brothers. The franchise was named Peak's Restaurant and would sell many other products with the original McDonald's. When Ray started a franchise there, the franchise owner told Ray about the low sales of the new franchise. Then, Ray suggested asking the McDonald's brothers, as they had given that franchise. The brothers visited the location, looked around, didn't offer any help to the new franchise, and then left. The brothers were very strict in enforcing policies on Ray to not deviate from the original McDonald's. But the brothers were not able to enforce the same on restaurants that were franchised by them. The brothers had some kind of cold war with Ray. They would come to Chicago and visit Ray's friends and suppliers and ask them to drive around to see all the McDonald's locations in the area. But they would not go to corporate headquarters or even call Ray on the telephone. Later, his friends would tell him where they had gone and what they had said. In his book, Ray Kroc wrote, "I was obsessed with the idea of making McDonald's the biggest and the best. The McDonald's brothers were simply not on my wavelength at all. They didn't want to be bothered with more risks and more demands. Ray wanted McDonald's to be a household name in America, and he believed that it could be achieved and that they could dominate the competition by providing better quality, service, cleanliness, and value in their restaurants. Many times, it would happen when Ray would open a new store. Based on their market research, their competitors would open restaurants in those areas. To counter these competitors, Ray was suggested to send their employees as spies to study competition. But Ray had a different approach, and he just used to look through the competitors' garbage cans to know how much their sales were. He would frequently go to competitors' areas at 2 a.m. and look through their garbage cans to see how many boxes of meat they used the day before, how many packages of buns they used, and many other products. Ray believed in focusing on their strengths and emphasizing quality, standard, cleanliness, and value. He believed the competition itself would be left behind if he offered the best service and product. Because of this, every single time, McDonald's came out as the winner when competitors tried to capture the market in their area. As the brothers used to meet Ray's suppliers and friends, the friends told Ray that the McDonald's brothers could be persuaded to sell. The brothers had also grown tired of the constant fighting with Ray Kroc, and they also disliked dealing with their franchisees. Also, Maurice's health was not the best, and Dick had expressed interest in retiring. When the agitation grew between Kroc and the brothers, Ray finally asked the brothers to name their price. The brothers asked for $2.7 million so that both brothers would end up with $1 million each after taxes. Now, as Ray Kroc was working for the brothers, it was obvious that he had no money to pay them off. To finalize the deal successfully, Ray had already convinced and brought in the investors to pay off the brothers. With the help of Harry Sonneborn, Ray raised money from the Bristol Group. For $2.7 million in cash from Bristol's group, Ray had to pay them 0.5% of the gross sales of all McDonald's stores. Ray anticipated that they would pay back the Bristol Group by the year 1991, but Ray managed to pay off the principal amount in 6 years and finished paying off the loan completely by 1972. It was an extremely successful deal. Because Ray was already paying 0.5% to the McDonald's brothers, now, after the buyout, he was paying the same 0.5% to the Bristol Group until he paid off the loan. This is how Ray Kroc acquired McDonald's from the brothers. While there may be different perspectives on the ethical aspects of the McDonald's acquisition, it is important to understand that Ray Kroc's actions were within the framework of business negotiations, agreements, and lawful transactions. Many people feel that the brothers were cheated by Ray. It was fascinating that Ray was expanding their business and brand. All they had to do was to help him grow and monitor the growth. But instead, the brothers themselves became the obstacle in the expansion of their brand. It was probably because they thought they themselves couldn't franchise and expand effectively. Then others also won't be able to do it. Ray also mentions in his book that it was almost as though the brothers were hoping that I would fail. In business, to get the job done, it is very difficult to find the right people with the right talent. During the expansion, Ray had to struggle a lot to find the right people for the task. He has mentioned this in his autobiography, Grinding It Out. If you want to learn about how the obstacles in the business are handled, then it is a must-read book for you. You will learn a lot from this book. The link to the book is in the description. The McDonald's brothers had found the right person for their expansion, but they just couldn't see it. They could have made him the partner after the expansion and could have been much wealthier. And if you look at the bigger picture, without Ray Kroc, McDonald's wouldn't have gotten as big as it is today. Ray Kroc had perfected the franchise model so well that most people think it was invented by him. On the other hand, the McDonald's brothers didn't focus on expansion and were happy with franchising their way, which failed. So, Ray might have had a controversial personality, but when it comes to business, you have to be ruthless with what you want, because sometimes you only get a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Ray liked the glorified McDonald's name, and Ray saw the opportunity in owning McDonald's and making it bigger than ever. When you have a vision that nobody else can see, you need to take that chance. Ray saw that chance in owning McDonald's. The lesson you should learn from Ray Kroc's story is that business is like a war, and nobody enters the war to lose it. We see these wars all the time when big companies compete with each other to capture the market. So, if you are someone who is starting a business or running a business, keep in mind that you are fighting a war, and you are in it to win it.